Welcome to the next episode of WaterparkRanger's Let's Play Wind Waker. Last episode, we got the family shield to defend ourselves with, and we boarded the pirate ship. We also completed Nico's test and got the spoils bag from him. And this episode, we're going to enter a decidedly dangerous location. So that's the Forsaken Fortress. What an evil-looking place. You can kind of see it behind that rock. It's kind of tough to see. So we need to go up this ladder. Hey! Jack, here I am, up here. Yeah, we can see you. And from here we'll have a better view of that tower. As you can see, there aren't really any other islands around here. We've got some wrecked ships, a sign that you really shouldn't get too close to that place. That's why we're docked behind this rock. There are searchlights as well. What were you doing with Nico? Don't tell me you were playing some stupid game for treasure, were you? Well, whatever. There's something you need to see. Have a look over there. That's a cursed isle known as the Forsaken Fortress. And it's a big one. The biggest yet, which isn't saying much as we've only seen one other island to compare it to. There are all sorts of strange rumors about this place. What I do know is that long ago, they used to be the hideout of a no-good group of pirates we used to compete with. But they were just small-time. Now the place looks like it's pretty dangerous. Ah, I knew it. Look. Over there. Over there! By that window. Have you ever seen so many seagulls flock like that before? I'll bet you anything that's the place where they've got your sister locked up. But it looks like the whole place is under really tight guard. This won't work. We'd be spotted before we got anywhere near landing there. What do we do now? Oh yeah, I love this next scene actually. I also know that it was parodied on Newgrounds and made into like a music video, which is pretty amusing. Like, how does he only realize now that he's inside a barrel? Really? Look, don't struggle. If you really want to get into a dangerous place like that, this is the only way to do it. Trust me. We pirates do this all the time. Don't worry about it. It'll be a piece of cake. Is everybody ready?
Never you fear, kid. We're pros. We're gonna launch you good.
You know, this is an incredibly ill-conceived plan. I never realized just how stupid an idea this is, because there's definitely more than one way of getting inside that fortress. They could have, like, put pillows in that barrel or something. Even that would have been a good idea. Well, comparatively to this, just him smashing against a thick wall, causing him to lose his sword. And basically, that means we are gonna have to go swordless for a while. I know it might not seem like much since we only really used the sword once against the bokoblins, but it's gonna matter once you realize what kind of enemies are in here. Because this could technically be considered the first kind of dungeon area you explore in the game. But for our sakes, we're not going to refer to it as the first dungeon, because it technically isn't, really. It's only referred to that very rarely by some people, and I don't believe them. Your sword landed all the way up there? Shoot, I'm sorry. I apologize. I guess my aim was off by a little bit. Heh, the look on your face. Priceless. For everything else, there's MasterCard. I slipped this stone into your pocket just before he fired you over there. It's no ordinary stone either. I can see what you're doing through this stone, and obviously you can hear me through it. So if you see a flashing A, you'd better press that button. I put that stone in your quest status screen. Press start and use L or R to scroll around. It's pretty basic. Hey, but listen carefully. I need this back after you save your sister, so don't go losing it, you understand? You can't really lose it, don't worry. In the Forsaken Fortress, you can pick up these barrels with A, and just walk around with them as cover. And if you stop walking, you need to make sure you stop walking before the light passes over you, otherwise they'll notice something's wrong, and then you'll get thrown in jail, and then there's all this stuff that happens when you get thrown in jail. Sometimes it's useful, depending on where you want to go in the fortress, but for our sakes, we're going to try and stay out of it if we can, just so we can grab some of these red rupees. And there was an orange rupee, which is worth 100 rupees back at outset, that we could have gotten, but I decided not to get it. That way we would have space for the rupees that we'd find here, and in any other places along the way that we might need. You do really have to be careful. Really, just make sure that you're not moving when that light passes over you. Oh, okay, just stop short. Oh, whoa. I thought we might have been able to make it. If we kept walking there, we would have been caught. And at this point, I think we can risk a dash. That was close. And from here, I think we can get up to one of the searchlights. So the idea here is that we need to shut off those 3 sets of searchlights. And this is the first set here. They're all on these top towers around this kind of raised area. And Tedra right there is trying to give us a message saying, there's a monster running the searchlight, but you don't have a sword. You should try to use your shield to deflect its attacks and grab its weapon. But the truth is, you should really just use this pot and break it, and there are these giant clubs inside, and you can use them to just fight the enemies that way. So just press A to pick them up, and then attack. That's one of the special features of this game, is you can actually grab the weapons that your enemies can use, and then use them against them. And it's actually never been used in any other Zelda game, to my knowledge. So that's an interesting feature. They might bring it back in Skyward Sword, because that just kind of seems like the kind of game that would make you take advantage of stuff like that. Either way, it would certainly be a plus for the game. Things should look up for it a bit more, because honestly, I'm sort of skeptical about it. I mean, usually I'm not one for skepticism. I guess this is how people felt when they first saw footage from the Wind Waker. A little bit ironic, considering, yeah, this game actually caused a bit of a controversy when it was released for how different it looked from normal Zeldas, being the first cel-shaded one and all. And if you don't know about that, then I'm glad I'm the first to tell you. So, you just gotta be on the lookout whenever you're outside, because these ladders are usually pretty well hidden. Like, that one's easy to miss. And you do want to shut them all off, because later, when you try to climb up a certain part of the tower, there are going to be searchlights in very, very bad places, and unless you shut them off, they're going to cause a problem. Okay, there we go. It's a little bit unwieldy, like, the clubs are kind of slow, but they're actually, I think, stronger than your sword. Oh, and this one dropped a Joy Pendant. Now, this is a special item that goes inside your spoils bag, and although technically we should have gotten one back in the forest from the enemy pearl, the reason it wouldn't appear is because we hadn't gotten the spoils bag yet, so we wouldn't be able to carry it. So what exactly do those do? Well, who knows? The important thing is to collect lots of them, because there is a point where they will become useful. And believe it or not, I think they're actually the only spoils item that you need to collect to pass a certain portion of the game, which is necessary for completion. Whoa! I missed. That was a failed jump. Actually, you should come down here if you're going for 100%, because if you step on the switch and open that cell, you will get a special treasure hidden in this fortress, which is very unusual for a dungeon area in Wind Waker. Not so in, like, Twilight Princess, but for Wind Waker, totally. Because the treasure is a piece of heart. Now, we're going to be looking for lots of these during our adventure, because I'm planning on finding them all. And this is basically our first one that we can get. And, yeah, you can get it later if you come back to the Forsaken Fortress. But for our sakes, it might be good just to do it a little bit more quickly. Whoa. Oh, we got caught by the guard. Not that it really matters, but at least I'll be able to show you what happens when you're thrown into jail. The guards are a pain to sneak past. We might sneak past one next episode. Or maybe sometime this episode. I'm not sure what'll happen. Depends how far we'll get. So we've been thrown into the jail. Now, yeah, here's our map, so you can see that it's basically just, you know, it's escapable. There is a way out. And it's up here on this suspicious-looking shelf with a pot. Break it open, and in addition to the blue rupee, you get a special crawl space. So crawl through it, and you can escape. And I think we're going to pop out on the other side of that platform that we initially missed during that jump. Just take a second. There we go. So every time you're caught, that's where you'll be put. And we might as well open up the treasure chest here. It's got something useful. But the controls are sometimes finicky when it comes to, like, motion. Sometimes this series can be a little bit picky depending on how you're walking. Anyway, the item is the dungeon map. And although it might have seemed like we had a good map there, this is going to show us all the rooms in addition to our location. So see, now we can see a bit more of the rooms and how they're connected. Which is good because so many of the rooms in the Forsaken Fortress look the same. Really, the only way to tell them apart is by looking at these big banners that are in the rooms that have different ships on them. Depending how many ships there are, as well as the color of the banner, it means you're in a different room. So just keep that in mind if you get lost. Now, there is an item for every dungeon, basically, that just is kind of like, it accompanies the dungeon map, and it will help you see things better. So in the green flag room, check behind these barrels and open this treasure chest, and you will get a special item, and I'm not exactly sure how it does it, but it's called the compass, and it lets you see where treasure chests and things are hidden in the dungeon. So it's pretty useful if you're trying to find, like, a key that you might have missed. Well, there's no key here, but at least we know where another treasure chest is. And that treasure chest only has, like, 10 rupees, I think. But at least we know where to find it. And another fail. The important thing is to be careful here. After you've fallen, these little enemies will appear and try to attack you. So make sure you climb up and get out. Not sure if you can hear their voices. They're like little rat things. Anyway, that's all we can do this episode, so we'll continue exploring the fortress next episode.